confusing, where law stops being intimidating, where compliance becomes practical. Someone said a law unread is a burden unknown. A law misunderstood is a liability. So we need to get adequate understanding of what the law is. That is why TCC exists, this tax planning corner. Here, we do not shout policy slogan here. We do not trade political opinion here. What we are here to do, we do not spread rumor here. What we are here to do is just one important thing. We take time to take the tax law as they are, and we examine how they are administered, and we translate them into what the taxpayer must understood, what the practitioner must advise, and what the administrators must also enforce. So, because we know taxation does not succeed at the level of policy documents, it does not succeed at the level of any advocacy. It succeeds at the point of administration and compliance. So tonight, the Insight Hour is another step in our collective journey to make taxation very clearer, fairer, and more predictable and professionally manageable. So whether you are here as a tax administrator or a consultant or a practitioner or a taxpayer seeking clarity, you are in the right room, a room where questions are welcome, facts are respected, and knowledge is shared responsibly. As we proceed, I encourage you to listen actively, engage thoughtfully, and remember, in tax practice, clarity is not negotiable. In tax practice, clarity is not negotiable. It is not an optional. It is a professional duty that everybody must key into. Once again, welcome to TCC Insight Hour. I am Felix Fascino, your anchor, your convener for tonight. And together, for the next 1 hour, we will continue to make compliance very easy. So on that note, I welcome everyone to the call today. But permit me to quickly do this. Our special guest, who is going to give an insight, is in the house already. And he had told me earlier that he's in another official national engagement. But because of his love for clarity and to show his solidarity for this platform, he decided that he will quickly jump out of his official national meeting, attend to us, and spend some time with us, and quickly return back. So we will have him to give us an insight before our main speaker take us on the call. I have the pleasure to let you know that on the call tonight is our amiable Dr. Tolu Adegbie, an FCNA, FCTI. Dr. Tolu Adegbie is from Ondo State. By the grace of God, he has a BSc in politics, philosophy, and economics. That's from Obafemi University. He has his master's second degree from University of Ibadan in banking and finance. He also had many overseas training from Citibank Banking, New York City in USA. And then he has held many positions, even to the point of being the head corporate banking in banking sector to major banks. And prior to the current function, he was at the point appointed as a special advisor, special assistant to the governor of Ondo State on IGR and taxation in 2017. And in 2018, he was appointed as the executive chairman of Ondo State Board of Internal Revenue, which he held on till 2024 before he got another bigger assignment at the national level. Dr. Tolu Adegbie has gotten many experiences both within and outside the country. He's a fellow certified National Accountant of Nigeria, fellow Chartered Institute of Public Administrator of Nigeria, honorary member of Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, is a fellow Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, a member of National Institute of Management, MNIM, and others. Dr. Tolu Adegbie is currently a member of the Presidential Financial Policy and Tax Reform Committee that is piloting the affairs of tax reform in the nation. Please join me as we welcome to the mic Dr. Tolu Adegbie, FCNA, FCTR. Doctor, you can unmute your mic and speak to the House and give us an insight into what we are deliberating tonight that has to do with filing of tax return. Everyone is eager to know what is in there for us and how best should we navigate this new terrain. Tonight's topic is bordering on filing your annual tax return in 2026. What's changing, what's staying, and what really matters to you. Dr. Tolu Adegbie, my respected mentor, please on your mic and speak to the House.
Okay, good evening all. It's a pleasure to be here. When I was told to come and speak, I was very excited, especially in the light of a couple of things that is happening currently, in the public space. So I told myself that I must take this opportunity, like we're all doing at the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee, to talk to as many people as possible. But to the issue at hand tonight, filing of annual returns, I just have a couple of remarks. Number one is that we all know that there are 4 laws that have just been enacted: NTA, Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Act, and Nigerian Revenue Board Establishment Act. These are the 4 tax acts. And then the things in the new tax laws. Number one, it is progressive and the rich will pay more. It punishes bad behavior deliberately. That is why the topic tonight is so important, because we'll be talking about, the facilitator will be talking about filing of annual returns. And it will also, I'm sure, talk about, she will also, I'm sure, talk about the penalties associated with non-compliance. That's what we mean by punishment behavior. It is pro-pure, and then it protects the right of the taxpayer with the establishment of the tax ombud, and it creates a level playing field and equity for all. And of course, it rewards good behavior. If you're doing the right thing, you will not have any issues with the tax authority. Now, we all know the Nigerian Tax Act is one that provides clear definitions, a harmonized tax structure, digital obligations, and taxpayers' rights. And of course, we know the individual income tax rates. Please, this is not payee rates. So people have been calling it payee rates. It's not payee rates. It's personal income tax rates, and it applies to both formal and informal sector. Once you can file your returns, you can claim all the allowances there. So it's not for payee only. It's for personal income tax, whether informal or formal. And of course, I'll just quickly show you this. You can see that from this table, almost everybody, I can assure you that every civil servant in Nigeria, but I don't know many civil servants that are earning above 18 million. Anybody earning above, below 18 million naira per annum, we have their taxes reduced. So almost all civil servants, everybody, most people will have their taxes reduced. Only the top 5% or 10% will have their taxes increased with these new tax laws based on the rates I showed you earlier. This is the reality, this is the facts. Now, of course, the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, that one introduces the administrative structure, the administration infrastructure, modern enforcement powers, stricter or more transparent penalties, and the digital compliance systems, and the stronger taxpayers' rights and appeal processes. And here also we talk about the JRB, Joint Revenue Board Establishment Acts, where the Office of the Tax Ombudsman has been created, which is very important because now you can report tax authorities to the tax ombudsman. It's not like before that we didn't have any recourse. You can actually report bad behavior of tax authority officials to the tax ombudsman. Yes, the tax ombudsman does not have power to censor you or anything, but they have the power to take cases of taxpayers to court on their behalf. And then where the tax authority remains recalcitrant, they have the power, they will publish your name and your tax authority in a report going to the National Assembly and then going to the Minister of Finance. We call it name and shame. So by the time your name as a tax official keeps coming up at the National Assembly, keeps coming up at the Minister of Finance office, even your office will call you to order. That's if they don't even sack you outright. So we have the costs. Now, to the issue at hand today, I'm sorry I'm rushing a bit. I want to try and cover as much as possible. Filing your annual returns in 2026 for companies. Our facilitator, I'm sure, will go into the details of all of this. I just want to make these few comments. For companies, if your year end falls on or before 31st December 2025, you will file your annual returns based on the old CIT, the old law. That's the company income tax law that has been repealed now. But you're going to file your tax based on it. Now, if your year end falls on 31st of, let's say in January, in the olden days, what we used to do is we do prorating. But under the new law, there's no prorates. So once it falls, anywhere it falls on, you file based on that year. So if your annual return falls on January, then you apply the new tax laws. But if it falls by 31st on or before 31st December, and the old law will apply. For example, all the levies that have been collapsed into the new 4% development levy will be paid individually like you were doing before if you have not paid. But if your annual return falls in the new year, then you pay them as 4% once. That's on the profits of the company. Of course, deadline for filing remains 31st January, and this was stated clearly in the law. Now, for individuals, all filing for individuals will remain under the law for 2026. So both for payee and for informal sector or direct assessments. And the reason is this. Most people have paid their payee on a monthly basis throughout 2025. So for the people who have not paid, who are just going to be filing and then paying, you cannot, for equity's sake, we have to apply the rule for 2025. So all the payee, all the assessments that we're going to be doing in 2026 for year 2025, we'll be applying the old law. That is the PITA, Personal Income Tax Act 2011 as amended. So effectively, the new rates and new tax bands will take effect in terms of filing for sub-filing purposes in 2027. Now, payee starts from January. So as they're deducting your payee in January, the new tax bands will apply. So new tax rates will apply for salaries, wages, fees, and income earned from January 2026 going forward. But for direct assessment, for those of us in the tax authority, we're going to be having direct assessment for school teachers, for different kinds of people. We apply the old law because payee have been applied based on 2025. So every income earned in 2025, the old law will apply. All incomes earned in 2026, the new laws will apply. So for other returns, VAT will be filed as required under the new law. And then, of course, I mentioned the issue of penalties. A lot of administrative penalties have now been introduced, and this is specifically to punish bad behavior. It was deliberate to punish bad behavior so that people will be forced to do the right thing. So it was not a mistake that we have 27 sections in the NTAA dedicated to fines and to penalties and fines. It was deliberate. Now, quickly, let me go back to quickly run through some topical issues. The issue of tax ID. This has been generating a lot of controversy in the media. We have people saying, FRS have come out to say your NIN is going to be your tax ID and all of that. The fact of the matter is that what is being done at FRS is that they're linking your NIN, as your unique tax ID to create a unique tax ID. So whether it's you have NIN or you have CAC, they're going to use those numbers to create a new tax ID for you. So if you look at the quote on the right side of the bottom right side of this slide, you see that as long as you have an NIN, what they're saying is that they've already created a tax ID for you, which is true. You don't need to register like you do for VPN or other services. You don't even need to stress yourself. As long as you are registered and you have an NIN, automatically a tax ID has been created for you. All you need to do is go to the website, key in your NIN, it will give you a tax ID. In fact, right now, what they are doing is that they are working with all the banks so that banks automatically can have access to this link, with the FRS and the State Revenue Services, with the Joint Revenue Board, who is housing the tax ID. So once they key in your NIN or your CAC, it brings out your tax ID. So, and it's false that, from January, they're going to stop your accounts, you are going to this and that. Is simple. That's not going to happen. No. So that, just to dispel that quickly. And then next one is the issue of the memorandum of understanding signed between FRS and the Direction Generale de Finance Publique, DGFIP of France. Has generated a lot of controversy in the public space. But the fact of the matter is that as a member of that presidential committee, I was personally involved in the call with Her Majesty's HRMS in England, with the American IRS, and the French, this same organization. And we spoke to them that we wanted their cooperation, let them teach us, let them tell us how to do it. And then HRMS told us what they did and sent documents. The American Tax Authority told us what they did and sent documents. But France said, no, we must sign an MOU before we tell you what we did. And that's why the MOU was signed. We went to them, and they are not the only ones that we went to. So, but everything has been misconstrued. It has nothing to do with sharing of data or anything. It's just to tell us that, look, how did you do it? They've all done modern tax reorganization in their countries. So I'm not telling you what somebody told me. I am a witness. I was there. So I can tell you for a fact. We went to them, but only France told us to sign an MOU, like a non-disclosure, before they can tell us what they did. All the others did not ask for this, and we just learned for them, and they will move on. It's purely a peer review thing. So there's no need for any controversy. I'm just trying to set that straight. And then finally, the changes between the past law and the gazetted version, we have different things. Yeah, there are actually 4 major areas that have been saying that have been changed. The House of Representatives have addressed this, that they are going to issue a new gazette, whatever, they're going to change it. But from an inside, I can tell you that we didn't see this coming because we were not aware. We thought what was gazetted was what was signed was what was gazetted. Because when the whole story started, we went to look at it and we saw some of the things that was involved. But one of the things we know outright from this slide, this issue of tax dispute appeals, 20% of disputed tax must be paid, is not in the law. Anybody that has a copy of the law should check it. It's not there. So we don't even know where they got this. The issue of reporting thresholds, yes, this is now 25 million. And the reason is simple. Is because 25 million per quarter, that's what we thought, because this is what we sent to them. It was not changed. This was what we sent. 25 million per quarter will give you 100 million per annum. The threshold for businesses not to pay company income tax, for enterprises and small businesses is 100 million. And so it's that 100 million divided by 4 that gave us 25. So House of Assembly, they said they passed 50 million. But that 50 million will negate the 100 million threshold for businesses. However, what they pass, they're the lawmaker. So you can't challenge them. So we don't have any issues with any of this. The issue of enforcement powers and all of that. See, if you look at most of these things, they're administrative. It doesn't have anything to do with taxing rights or taxing powers. So when we hear things like, oh, you stop the whole law, this and that, look at the area: enforcement power, garnishing process, reporting threshold, tax disputes, legislative oversight. All these are administrative issues that has nothing to do with taxing rights or taxing powers of both the tax authority and the individuals. We won't have enforcement unless there's a dispute. We won't have garnishing unless there's a dispute. Most cases don't get to this level, but the law is the law. Saying that you tampered with, then let's go ahead and fix it. So that's our own perspective, and thank God for Mr. President who has spoken, and the other assembly also who has spoken. We expect that in fact, for us, if they want to even remove all these sections, they should remove it. It won't change fundamentally the tax laws. So, but they said they will correct it, and we hope that they correct it soon, and then we can get on with the process of the law. We can see different analysis in the papers. Some people even did, they even did a cartoon. So for us at the committee, I said, we're like, there's more to this issue, that meets the high. How can people go and do cartoon over things that are just purely administrative? So, but this is a tax clinic, and we speak facts here. So the fact is what you have heard from me tonight. So in conclusion, I just want to say that the new chapter begins with us, and encourage all of us to look at the materials that have been published by the Presidential Committee. We have issues: 50 items exempt from tax, 20 critical changes to the new tax act. So thank you very much, and I wish you a very productive and impactful session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tolu Adegbie. All is seriously on a very serious call, but then I want to, as we are joining in, please, if it is possible for you to just bracket your state there. We have some people from Ekiti State, from Oyo, from Ondo, from Borno, from Delta, even from Canada. Here we have people from UK. So if we can bracket your location, it will be easier for me. So I want please, Mr. Abdul-Fattah, you are the first one to come in today. Can you just help us to appreciate Dr. Adegbie before he leaves? And then maybe I should just take one question from the house and suspend other questions till after presentation. Just one question for Dr. Adegbie. I think he's still there before he leaves. Just a privilege, sir. Mr. Abdul-Fattah, can you unmute now to be ready to appreciate him? Then you have just one question. Just one question. Have just one question. Raise up your hand and let's take that before he leaves.
Good evening, participants.
Yeah.
On behalf of every one of us, I say thank you to our doctor for the insightful comments he has given us, most especially in respect of the act that was passed and the one that was being doctored. Thank you so much, sir.
Mr. Fattah, you are from which state? Which state are you calling from?
I'm from Lagos State too.
Okay, thank you. That's a good one. Yeah. Then you have just one single question before he leaves. One question. Okay. If there is none, for now, let's keep our question till the second our speaker speak. Okay. Dr. Adegbie, please. I want to really appreciate you. Like our distinguished professional has spoken. Thank you for creating time to be here. You are a mentor that we are highly referred, and I appreciate you for joining us. So you are free to stay for time that you can stay for us, and then to join your other national assignment. Thank you very much. Thank
you very much for having me. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you to all the participants. If you have any questions, you can send it later to me. I'll try and answer, and then I will send it back to the organizers in any area at all. I may even join you back later, maybe in about an hour if you are still here. Well, thank you all very much and have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Now we want to go to the business of the day. Our resource person is a loaded erudite in this area of taxation. Her name is Toluwalogo Odutayo. That name itself speaks volume. Toluwalogo is a partner in Deloitte and Touchy Tax and Regulatory Services. She's a graduate of accounting from Obafemi Awolowo University. What a similar thing with the Dr. Adegbie. She's also Tolu, and Dr. Adegbie is also Tolu. Wonderful day. So she's from she finished from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State, and hold a master's in management from the University of Leicester, United Kingdom. Toluwalogo has over 21 years of experience in tax consultancy and regulatory practice in Nigeria. She's a partner in the Global Employer Services Unit of Tax and Regulatory Functions of Deloitte and Touchy. She's currently the Africa leader for Global and Employer Services Unit of the firm. She's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICA, and also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxations of Nigeria, CITN. Toluwalogo, as is popularly called, is experienced in the provision of tax advisory and compliance services to companies in the oil and gas sector, the fast-moving consumer goods FMCG sector, public companies, non-governmental organizations, high net worth individuals, local and expatriate employees. She has worked on numerous tax assignments for both local and international clients. She's a speaker on tax issues and has attended and facilitated several trainings within and outside the country. Toluwalogo is happily married with two lovely children. Can you please help me to welcome Toluwalogo Odutayo, FCA, FCTI? Madam Toluwalogo, you have the floor now.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Felix. It's a pleasure to be here. Please confirm that you can hear me clearly. Okay.
I can hear you clearly. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for receiving me. It's a privilege to be here, and thank you for welcoming me. And the topic before us, like Mr. Tolu said before he left, is topical. And I'm so glad that it came before me. I'm not in the committee. So it's a pity that we didn't get to stone him before he left. Now I'm here. I hope I will not be stoned, but I know we're all together in this. And we also know why this had to be done for our nation. So I'm not going to waste time on all of that, especially because Mr. Tolu also gave like a good summary of why we are here, what brought us here in the first place. So once again, thank you for having me. I'll just go straight to the topic before us because I know it's Saturday evening and but because we all want to learn, that's why we are here. And it's very good to hear that we don't only have people from Lagos here, we have people from all over the Federation. That's very interesting. Thank you all for joining. When it is even still the festive season, I was asking Mr. Felix, why did we even choose today? We're all still partying and all of that. But because we also know that after all the party, then we will face this issue immediately. So it's better we start getting ready for this. So let's go right into it. We are saying filing your annual tax return in 2026. What should we look out for? So I just wanted to show some acronyms that I'll be using during this very short presentation. It's a 30-minute presentation. And I'm taking a cue from what Dr. Tolu has done. So some things that he has mentioned, maybe I won't go too much into details again. He has kind of summarized my whole presentation. But if you hear me say JRBA, NSRA, these are the acronyms, PE, PITA, RTA, just for us to know so that we can move on. And I also believe that we are all taxpayers, tax consultants, tax authority officials. So we're already familiar with some of these some of these acronyms and abbreviations. So, and what am I covering? Just general overview. Like I said, Dr. Tolu has done a lot of that. I will just also do a little more. Then we'll go to overview of what tax filing process would look like now. And then we'll talk about tax ID. I'm also very, very glad that Dr. Tolu has touched on that. Now, because it was very clear in the brief that was shared with me that we want to know specifically what is changing, I've narrowed it down more to PIT because CIT is not changing much. So as in the company income tax filing is not changing much, but we'll just do overview of everything. Then I'll take our questions. Okay, so, and then if you have other things you like us to still touch base on, I think we can take that. And I'm not sure I should be going too much into this because Dr. Tolu has just done that. What are we trying to achieve? We've talked about how everything has been consolidated into NTA. So we'll not be talking about personal income tax or company income tax again from 2026, except we are talking about transactions that happened in 2025. And I'm so glad the way Dr. Tolu explained it. A lot of people are still confused about, okay, if we get into 2026 and there's a 2024 audit, what are we going to use? 2024 audit will relate to 2024 transactions, income and expenses spent in 2024. Definitely, it is the current law now that will the CIT and PIT that will be used. It is transactions, income, salaries, everything from January 2026 that this will refer to. And somebody was asking me in the last presentation I did that, so how exactly do we explain to tax officers that, oh, this audit people are doing in 2023, you're not supposed to apply the new law. I said they know, and I'm sure a lot of us are in the house. So let's also remind ourselves, let's know that we can't completely tear our CIT, our PIT, not yet, until we conclude everything that has to do with the years before 2026. So I've assured them on our behalf, for those of us who are tax officers, that we know that we are going to handle the audits using the appropriate tax law. So, and I believe that will be very easy to do. Of course, the NTA now shows all the, it's like the guideline now that shows everything administration that will govern everything that would happen from the NTA. We also know what the JRB is the former Joint Tax Board, also the NRS Act, that's the Nigerian Revenue Service Act, that is replacing Federal Inland Revenue Service Establishment Act. Okay, now let's go straight to overview of filing. That's what we are focusing on. So I've limited myself to just the topic. We're not talking about the whole law, the whole act of what changed and what not changed. I'm sure we've all, maybe some of us have even taken conversations on that. We've had to talk to people about it. So what's overview? As we all know, NTA and NTA are coming into effect 1st of January. Now, filing of returns is going to be key. It's a very key compliance obligations for individual taxpayers, for companies, for everyone. Filing returns has now become very, very sacrosanct and very, very important. Maybe one thing to really focus on or to really emphasize in this conversation is that we now need to start letting people know that it's no longer because my employer has filed for me, I don't have to do anything. Everybody, whether you're in employment or not, you are expected to file your returns. So, and I'm also happy that for the most part, we have said that we have other people from other states here. I'm going to also emphasize on the fact that even though this law, Dr. Tolu mentioned it, that even though this law does not give a statutory deadline for the individual filing, please let's all keep our ears to the ground. That may mean that each state may then issue, maybe circulars or notification to say this is going to be the filing. But we expect that what is currently in PITA, in Personal Income Tax Act, is what will continue. That's 90 days after the year, meaning that is 30th of March of the following year. So, but let us move on. So, annual tax obligation that we are talking about now relate to income earned in 2026. I think I've said that so many times now, so that we don't get it confused, and we can explain to our clients or whoever we're talking to. Now, I decided that for filing obligations, let's talk about employers. I want to clearly differentiate. I want to reiterate it so much that it is very easy for us to also tell, our clients and people around. Now, I am focusing on people who are now in employment. I'm still going to talk generally about whether you are self-employed or otherwise. So, what is your obligation as an employer? You're supposed to register with the tax authority, with the relevant tax authority. Of course, as a company, you first register, as your company. I'm not talking about company now. As you, that you're employing people. Now, please do not say that my company is in Ogun State, and so because of that, I have registered with Ogun State. That is it. If you have employees living in Oyo State, even though your company is in Ogun State, that means you need to register in that state too. If you are based in Ogun State, but you have employees living in Lagos State, that means you also need to register in that state, in the relevant tax. Why? Because you are supposed to withhold taxes from the income you are paying to your employees and pay to the tax authority of their residency. So, meaning the company is in Agbara, but we have people living in Ikeja. We have even some people living in Oyo State, just at the boundary. They find a way of going home every weekend or even every day. So when we do the account, or when we prepare salary in Agbara, we are supposed to have gotten the addresses of the people who work with us. So you are then supposed to have registered with Ogun State where you are, because that means some people also live in Ogun State. With Oyo State, where this category of employee are, and you say, okay, I have 4 employees living in Oyo State, and then you do the same for Lagos State. And then when you withhold on a monthly basis, the salaries, the pay, personal income tax, that's the pay as you earn, is supposed to go to those states. So, and then of course the tax deduction and remittance, that responsibility is still there. I was in a session and I think people are getting it wrong. Employers are now thinking that because we said employees are going to file their returns, they will not do anything. No, you will. Please, let's tell our HR, you are still supposed from January, when you want to pay January salary, it's still the same thing. It's just the table has changed, definitely. Yeah, we are still supposed to deduct and remit on a monthly basis. At the end of the year, I'm coming to number 3 now. At the end of the year, every employer is still supposed to file their own annual return. So, case in point, the company I'm talking about, let's say the name of that company is ABC. Remember that I said is registered and doing business in Ogun State, but has employees in the 3 states, Ogun, Lagos, and Oyo State. Now, when you want to file your returns, you are also going to file your own Form H1 in those 3 states. That has not changed. The only thing that has changed is the deadline has not changed. What has changed is the penalty. Before now, it was 500K flat. But now, failure to file your returns on due date of 31st January of the following year is now 100,000 for the first month of default and 50,000 for each subsequent month. Now, the penalty was reduced, but if you continue to default, then you will continue to pay. So that's where we are going with effect from 2026. So meaning the returns that we're supposed to file 31st January, or no, before 31st January 2027 is what we're talking about now. The one that we're filing for January 2026 that relates to income, salaries and wages for 2025, we still follow the normal, what we have currently. So I'm trying to make this clear so that we don't think that because we said there is now individual filing that the employer is not doing anything. No, the NTA still has the annual tax returns filing from H1 for employers. Also, though there's a lot of controversy on whether as an employer, whether I'm obligated or I'm not obligated. Well, the law doesn't say it outrightly, but the truth is, if you look at it, if you want to be an employer of choice and you are deducting, you are withholding taxes and you're supposed to remit it on behalf of your employees, and that's all they have, we expect that at least you support them in processing their tax license certificate. But where we are going eventually, everyone will be able to do that by themselves. But for now, I think it is still important that we support our employees. But that's another subject for another day. Now I'm coming to individuals now. Now, whether you are self-employed, you have your own company, you have a business name, or you're an employee. So under NTAA, you have the obligation to file your tax return, your own individual tax return. So employees under pay as you earn, I'm so glad that Dr. Tolu distinguished between payee and PIT. PIT is for everybody, but the system for people in employment is pay as you earn. So for employees, you still file. For self-employed individuals with multiple streams of income, other sources of income aside your employment income. So meaning, if I've listened to all these tech talks, and of course, we all know, they say, I don't know, many of us are Yorubas. There's a saying in my place that says, Onoko Waja. So nowadays, you see people are earning salary, but what they are earning is not, a lot of us, what we are earning is not enough to take us home. So we have side hustles, like we call it. What we are saying is all those side hustles, you're supposed to include them in your filing. So your employer knows only what he's paying you. And that is what he has put on the form H1. That is what he has withheld tax on. So when you now want to file your own returns, you would please, let's mute our mics, please. You will state income, the income that your employer has declared for you. You will state it on the form. That a lot of the states have the forms. I'll show you some examples that I have in this my.
We lost her. As moderator, you can hear us.
Can you hear me?
We have lost.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes, we can hear you now. She's back. Can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. I think I mistakenly muted myself. Okay, so I was saying that for your employment income, that's the salary allowances. You are also supposed to restate it. I see that what a lot of organizations do is that just before filing, they reconfirm to their employees that this is your total income and the total taxes that we paid for you this year, so that when you are stating it in your own file, it's speaking to each other. So you state that. Then any other income, if you have a shop in Alaba, and you have done the calculation January to December, you make 500 million. You're supposed to state that income, that 500 million. Other taxable income, that's your investment income, you have a house, your rental income, and all of that. Then you will now state all the reliefs. A lot of the forms already have this information. For example, those of us who are already used to Lagos State e-portal, for example, you will even see it. They've put the name. So, for example, rental income is there. If you have it, you put it. If you don't have it, you move to the next type of income. They put business income. They put different income. You're supposed to just state those income, and then they give room for you to then state, reliefs, expenses, your deductions, and all that. So that's what is supposed to be on that, on your filing. That's what you need, information you need to declare. Now, please, I've talked about when I show you it. I think I have about 3 states forms here. Some states just before December or in January, please, let's keep our ears to the ground. A lot of states will put on their website or issue a circular or announce on their media channels, so either social media or our normal traditional media, to say this is the format we are using this year, blah, blah, blah. Please, let's take close note of those things, because we've seen situations where individuals went to file and they said, but last year you didn't ask for this, and then the state is now saying, oh, we have introduced this to make it easier. I know that at the moment, Ogun State is also going through a process where you just go, even from your phone or from the comfort of your homes, you can register yourself and see what the portal looks like. River State has also done fantastic with their e-portal. A lot of states actually have now done well with their e-portal. FCT also, I was seeing communication from them on their new portal and all of that. They had one before. I think they have a new one now. So please, for the 2 people we're talking about, for employers, you may just want to know what's happening. You may want to help your employees by saying, oh, those of you in this state, this is what is happening. If you want to, so one of the things we do in our own organization is they just do this general mail to say this is the guideline for filing your returns for this year, and for these states that have links, we'll put the links there so that people can go there on those links depending on where you stay, and then you go on those links. So especially for those of us who then have employees in almost all the states, for example, banks and some other FMCG companies, this is the time to really sensitize our employees. This is the time for each of us to just know and familiarize ourselves with the various states and what they do. I know a lot of states are also trying to catch up, especially now that it's now in the head that people need to file their returns. So we as tax officers, for those of us who are tax officials, let's get ready. Let's familiarize ourselves so that if people walk in, because we've had complaints like that, but I went to the tax office and the person I met there could not even explain. When I hear things like, when I went there, they said, as long as your employer has filed, and I say, I'm not even in employment, so what am I supposed to do? And those people didn't get clear information. I don't think that's good enough. So let's all get the right information of what is happening in our individual states as it relates to the law, and then do the needful. So filing deadline, like I said, it's not very clearly stated, but we are believing that it will still be 31st of March. Like I also said earlier, let's stay close to the different states to know what is happening. Now, this is for Lagos State. I hope we can still see my slide. This is out.
Madam Toluwalogo, please, sorry for cutting. Your time is ticking, and then you have around 10 more minutes to wrap up your thoughts. So maybe
okay, no problem.
Yeah, you can see the timing on the screen too. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm sharing all this. I'm going to share my slides. Mr. Felix doesn't want me to spend time with you, so we can familiarize ourselves with it at our convenience. So, but what I've done in this slide is to do an overview of all the filings that needs to be done, but I not even stretch it a bit to not to restrict it to just filing. So you can see for CIT what will be done, and I've put what is required. For filing for CIT, you will be required to file your annual income tax return together with your audited statements. And I've put the due date for payments and then for filing. The development levy is the same with CIT, like Ms. Doctor also said earlier. For withholding taxes, this is on a monthly basis, the payments on a monthly basis. CGT, that's capital gains tax, we have for both companies and individuals. Now, you ask me, what if I have capital gains? With effect from this tax law, you will now file it alongside with, you will now declare it like your normal income, but that it's a capital gain because it's now the same rate. It's no longer two different rates. I've talked a lot about payee. Like I said, I will share this slide so that we can familiarize ourselves with it. I also put for VAT. Yeah, it's monthly, it's done on Promax, and I've also tried to put how those filings will be done for each type of taxes. So then I now came back to focus on individual tax filing. Like I said, I will share this slide, but what I've done here is to do a quick difference between what was in PITA and what is in NTAA. Like filing is still the same thing for from H1, both under PITA and ATA. What is changing, like I said earlier, is the failure, is the penalty for filing late. And of course, also when you fail to deduct or remit tax, the rates are also changing. So let's familiarize ourselves with it. Then, of course, the mandatory TIN, I didn't draw so much about it because Dr. Tolu talked about it. But let's also tell our employees that there is now an administrative penalty if you do not register. 50,000 for the first month and 25,000 if you continue to default. So if this is true, let us quickly tell our people, or let us tell everyone that is around us that this is there. Yes, like Dr. Tolu said, they're trying to synchronize it, make it easier. All those things are still work in progress. In fact, they are saying eventually it's just going to be one unique identifier. I saw even on the TCC, on this our tax clinic platform, where somebody dropped, I think yesterday, on do this and do that. Well, whilst that is there, we hear that what will eventually happen, and I thought somebody will ask Dr. Tolu that question to say, when is the unique one happening, so that I know I have one unique ID, whether I'm in Ogun State or in Zamfara State or in Kebbi State, it's just one ID and it is linked to me. So I think those are the questions, those are the conversations we should be having now, because for people outside our country, they wonder why for every state you go to, you have to have a different identifier. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have not been able to capture people effectively. Someone like me now, I have 3 PID because I was working in Lagos and I was transferred to Abuja, then I was transferred back to Lagos, and then they said the old one was old. So I now have 3. Then, sorry, I have 4 because I also have JTB ID. So I'm hoping that we can link all of these things. Some people are saying it's going to be NIN and all of that. We'll wait for that, but at least for now, let people walk in to their various states or go on their portals to see how they can generate either their taxpayer identification number or taxpayer ID, like it was named in NTA. Of course, I've talked about filing and what the deadline is. So key action points: annual filing, tax return must have full disclosure. I was in a meeting, in a party today, and somebody just said to me that, oh, with effect from 1st of January, we just know how you state your income. So, for example, somebody wants to pay you rent, let them call it gifts. And I laughed. I really laughed. And we should discourage people from things like that. Let's state it what it is. and not try to cut corners. Because if we go and study, Dr. Tolu said it, that there are 27 sections for penalties and defaults, whatever around defaults and all of that. If it is seen that you purposely, so how will I want to pay my rent? And I hear landlords are now calling their tenants to say, once you want to pay your rent next year now, call it gift, call it something. It's not going to fly. It is still rent, no matter how we put it. And it is still going to be seen. Okay, so me that I want to get relief now, to enjoy the rent relief, my the tax authority is going to say, for you to enjoy this relief, bring evidence that I have paid rent. And I say, no, I didn't pay rent. I only gave a gift to my landlord. It just doesn't make sense. So, and with the sources of information that our people are going to have, you are going to know that this is the person that is collecting the rent. You need to have rental agreement. In fact, I'm encouraging people to say, I need to have an agreement, even if there's no agreement, receipt or anything to say this is what I'm paying for. So I do not think we should be trying to, or we also in this room should be encouraging people to just change things. If it is a gift, it is a gift. And guess what? Even if you call it a gift, the important thing is, did you exchange value? For your information, gift is stated in NTA as a liable income, taxable income. The only issue is we know that it can't just be any gift. But if you are getting a gift for a value, then it's not just a gift. It is a service that you are being paid for. So please, let's encourage people not to try to change these things. We want our country to be better. If we do right by this, it's going to just be a little bit of teething effect. Eventually, it will be better for it, because we all can then ask our government to show us exactly what they are using our taxes for, rather than finding different ways. Somebody called me 2 days ago on Christmas Day, for example. Can you imagine? I was asking me that, can they take all their money and take it to Barbados or be somewhere, so that taxman will not. I said, what are you looking for? So one said, no, she is even going to Ghana. They put me on group call. I was so embarrassed on Christmas Day that they want to take their money to Ghana. They are thinking they should just move. I said, do you know the tax rate in Ghana? It's higher than Nigeria. So tell me, what are you saying? You are running from fire to fire. So, I mean, let's just encourage people to do the right thing. Let's then all go back to government, or to show us what they are doing. I think it is the social contracting bit we should be thinking of what to do, and not trying to do anything funny at all. So I'll stop there so that I can take our question. I did something here again. I put our tax calculator here, because everywhere I go, people have been asking questions about how to get the calculator. Dr. Tolu tried to do a brief. There's this link on the presidential committee's whatever portal, where you can just easily go to see the tax form. So I'm going to stop there. If there's still anything you want me to touch on, then I can go back to it. But that's a brief of what is changing with effect from our next filing. These are some of the things that we should take note, both as employer and as employee, and as individuals who have our own businesses. Let me mention here that for business owners, because I think I emphasized a lot on employees. For business owners, individuals who will need to file their personal income tax, the very first step is to ensure proper capturing of your income and expenditure. I think if you can just start from there, then we are talking. Because how will you declare that this is the total income I have? So, and no matter how mundane it is, there are so many apps now that you can even tell your children to develop something for you that will help you to capture your expenses, your income on a daily basis. This is the time to be very serious about getting an accountant. No matter how young the person is, to capture your daily, your daily income and expenses, and supporting document for your expenses, because for the law, the NTA now states clearly that you will be able the expenses that are wholly unnecessary for the business are liable deductions before your income is charged. So if you declare your income in your filings, then you should also put those expenses. And then for the capital ones, you will be able to get capital allowances and all of that, whether as individual, whether as business name or as a full company. I will stop there. That was the bell, and I will take our questions. Thank you. I hope it was clear enough.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Toluwalogo. We really appreciate the way you have handled this presentation, and I can see a lot of people clapping. Thank you so much. Because of our time, we'll just pick one or two questions before we close the meeting. Ms. Toluwalogo is always on the call on the task training corner. She will also be asking some questions as it comes in on that particular platform. So I will try and create your indulgence. If you have any questions, you can type it, put it on this platform or on that platform. Those questions can still be attended to. Then on that same platform also, it is a national platform. In fact, it's metamorphosed beyond the nation. So, but for now, it's a national platform. So it's not a platform for a particular state. So we have a lot of people from all of that state, both in the south and in the north, on that platform. So whichever way you are looking at it is an information or idea that cut across the nation. And it's not limited to tax administrator alone. Consultants are there, taxpayers are there. So you are going to have a holistic overview of so many things on that platform. So let me pick, we have two hands raised already. Very briefly, in Tentran Associates, can we just have it very briefly, just for 30 seconds? In Tentran Associate, your name is not there. I shouldn't have called you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mrs. Toluwalogo, for that.
Your name, your real name, and from which state are you calling from?
Okay, my name is Kyle. I'm calling from Ogun State.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Sure, now that the new law expects individuals to file tax returns, does it mean as a consultant I'm handling for an employer, for instance, that has 150 employees? After doing the annual file, will I do 150 individuals who are the employees?
Okay, is that all? Thank you. Let's have the second question. I think I can see, Mr. Jonathan Olukunle, go ahead and answer your question. Madam Toluwalogo, please take note of those questions so I can answer them together. Go ahead, Mr. Jonathan.
Yes, all right, thank you so very much, our moderator. Yeah, my
your
question is
your name and which state are you calling from?
Okay, my name is Jonathan. I'm calling from Ogun State.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Though the part I want to ask a question, she didn't really talk about it, but I think it's something that we need very soon. When it now comes to tax audit, does it mean all these individuals will also be tax audited? And when that is to happen, how do we really handle this? Because that's an aspect that will be very broad and very wide. Please, I will just need her to throw a little light on this. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, that seems to be the two questions we have. Please go ahead and wrap up.
Okay, thank you very much. So, yeah, sir, for the first question about filing, so does that mean that you will also do the filing for your clients and employees? Like I said in the presentation, the obligation of the employer is their own Form H1, the one that is due 31st of January, to say this is the income I paid these employees and this is the taxes I took from them, and this is evidence of the fact that I paid the salary on their behalf. And of course, it's expected that all those employees have PIDs attached to their names, so that the taxes should have gone directly into their account. It's just like our pension, when they remit to the PFAs, they will allocate to each of us because we have we have our own different RSA pin. So that's for employers. Now you are saying you are supporting your clients to do that, which is okay. Are you not supposed to support their employees? The answer is it is individual. guess what? Those individuals will have other income that they do not need to declare to their employer. They may have rent that they are calling from one property they inherited from their grandfather. That is another income for them. They may have a side hustle that they are also getting income from. So what we are saying is we need to grow and get to the point where we ourselves, just like it is in every other jurisdiction, where you will say, this is my employment income, then all this other income, I will state it. Now, as an employer and you as a consultant, what can you do? You can guide them. So I even have clients that even for their high net worth individuals, maybe their management, we guide them, we support them, because each person is supposed to do it by themselves. We just provide guidance because there are information they will not tell you, or they don't want their employer to even know. So, but you can provide a guideline. You can do a guideline of this is what you will do. You will go on the link, you will do this, you will press this. If you have any issue, call us. We will guide you further. Do you understand? But each person, each of us on this call is supposed to file our individual returns. Well, it's going to be so seamless eventually by the time we all get used to it that you don't even need your employer to process tax clearance certificate for you, because you'll be able to process it yourself. In fact, now on Lagos State Portal, when you do your filing, you can generate your TCC. You don't need anybody to generate it for you. So for you, what you can do now is to provide that guidance till we all get used to this is the process and this is how we go about it. I hope that's clear enough. I didn't get your name, sir, Mr. Interent Associate. Is my response clear, sir?
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead. It's clear. And
okay,
because of our time.
So, Mr. Jonathan, you were saying that what about that if individuals file returns, they will be audited? Yes, they will be. At the moment, we have individual. So what we are saying, none of this thing is new. I hope we know. Individual returns is in our record. Personally, because I do direct filing, I get assessment from my tax authority to say this was filed, provide more information, and I just respond to say, oh, this was this is what it relates to, that is it. So it may not be full audit like the one you are talking about. It may just be assessment being raised because you have filed your returns. And right now, I'm happy Mr. Felix is on this call. He is the HNI director. So we have some tax authorities, some state authorities that already have HNI. So right now, HNIs are already doing this thing that we're trying to make compulsory for everybody. It's not like it wasn't the tax law. It's just that it wasn't being fully complied with. And this NTA is just saying there's going to be a lot of emphasis on individual filing. So for high net worth individuals who are already filing their own individual returns and assessment, they get assessment. And then they will write back to say, no, I don't agree with it. Then they say send this and this to prove to us that truly this was all your income, you didn't have any other income. And that's it. Once you provide necessary documents and all of that, it's cleared. So it's not elongated like it's not withholding tax and all of those things. Those are some of the things that delay our normal state tax audits. So yes, so you may not want to call it audit, but if there's a need to query your returns because things are not speaking to each other, there's a sudden jump or a sudden decrease, then the tax authority has the obligation to, or has the powers to write to that individual to say, why this? Can you provide further clarification? So I hope that's clear enough. So it may not be audit per se, but the tax authority has the right to ask further questions or documents. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Toluwalogo. We really appreciate your clarity on these questions. Because of our time, we need to wrap up now. We have to make it 9 and all of that. It's just because we start a few minutes past 8. Let me leave us with these quotes that compliance is cheaper than penalty. So if you are a taxpayer, which all of us are, so if you are on the side of the administrator, regulator, or you are also a consultant as a practitioner, it is cheaper. Compliance is cheaper than penalty. Just like wisdom is cheaper than confusion. So let's tailor our minds towards compliance. And that's why Tax Clinic Corner is being created. Compliance made easy. We want to break it down every time. So on that note, I want to call someone from Oyo State to please appreciate Madam Toluwalogo before she will also be on the platform. She's already added on the Tax Clinic Corner to also attend to questions that will come thereafter. So can someone from Oyo State help us to appreciate Madam Toluwalogo for this presentation tonight? Unmute yourself if you are there from Oyo State. Do you have Mr. Ola there? I have them. We used to have them, so many from Oyo State. Nobody? Okay. Any from any other state other than Oyo? Any other state other than Oyo now? Just anyone. Help us to appreciate Madam Toluwalogo. Okay, let me pick this Olayinka Dauda. Who is the Olayinka Dauda? This help us to appreciate. I just want all of us to be on the same page. It won't be me and me. Olayinka Dauda, help us to appreciate Madam Toluwalogo. Okay, anyone that enjoys the meeting very well, anyone can just unmute, appreciate her, and then.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Toluwalogo. It was a well educated.
Mention your state. You're from which state, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm from Lagos State.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, it's really touched a whole lot of enlightenment, and it's well appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Olayinka Dauda. I also appreciate you. Madam Toluwalogo, thank you. We appreciate. We know we can't pay you for this, but all of us can together move the revenue forward. Let me quickly intimate us that by next meeting, which is going to be next 2 weeks, January 10th precisely, is going to be a time we deep dive into what Madam Toluwalogo was rounding up his thought with. That is high net worth individuals. And the person that will be taking us through that discussion is nobody else than someone who has been handling such a sector for so many years now. So, and then can I also tell you that the revered ICANN president, 61st president of ICANN, current ICANN president, also has shown interest to be on this platform on the 10th of January. It's to tell you that this is a national platform, a discourse that many experts want to be part of it. The current 61st ICANN president also want to be on this call. And I want to say, all the erudite people are on this call. I've seen a lot of high-profile consultants who have spoken with me, who I have seen a lot of, in fact, consultant emeritus. We appreciate you. So on this call, let us keep expanding the scope, share the links, let people join the platform, and then we'll be able to move Nigeria together so that this tax understanding will go viral.